What is going on, guys? It's Suk and I am back with a brand new video on Super Duper Tech. And in today's video, I'll be showing you guys the results that I got when playing games on the 2018 Mac Mini. Now this is definitely going to be quite the interesting video, so without any further ado, let's hit the titles. So if you guys are curious as to what games I played on this Mac Mini, I played Battlefield 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, Apex Legends, Mafia 3, CSGO, FireWatch and Destiny 2, making quite the size of games at different ages with varying levels of processing capabilities. So let's start this off with gaming at 4K, which is something you most definitely do not want to do with this machine regardless. And as I'm sure you were expecting, most games including Battlefield 5, Apex Legends, Mafia 3, CSGO, FireWatch and Destiny 2 struggled to achieve an average FPS above 10, whilst Black Ops 4 averaged around 19 frames per second, with Grand Theft Auto averaging around 14. So as I'm sure you guys were expecting, if you're trying to game at 4K resolution on a Mac Mini, you are going to have a really bad time, and I'm telling you now, I would not advise doing this for whatever reason. Just don't do it. It's bad. It's very bad. So after seeing results like that, the next natural thing to do was of course lower the resolution. So after playing at 3840 by 2160, I lowered it down to full HD, being 1920 by 1080. And as you guys can see, there was a massive improvement. If you take a look at Black Ops 4, I was now averaging around 47 frames per second, whilst if you look at CSGO and Destiny 2, you can see I was averaging around 30 frames per second. Now if you take a look at the other 4 remaining games, you'll find that Battlefield 5 and GTA 5 were averaging around 18 all up to 21 frames per second. So on average, they fared very similarly. And of course, when you take a look at Mafia 3 and FireWatch, you'll notice that they were performing very bad indeed, with Mafia 3 averaging around 11 and you'll find FireWatch averaging around 8. So probably not the games you want to play on a Mac Mini. So once again, after lowering the resolution now to 1280 by 720, you'll notice 2 games which are pretty shocking, that being Black Ops 4 and CSGO. So Black Ops 4 I was averaging around 77 frames per second, whilst with CSGO you're actually looking at above 60, looking around 62 frames per second. And if you take a look, the only other game averaging above 30 frames per second was surprisingly Destiny 2, which averaged around 36 frames per second. And just like at the previous resolution, both Battlefield 5 and GTA 5 performed very similarly when looking at their minimum, average and the maximum frames that they hit. And surprise surprise, Mafia 3 and FireWatch performed once again very similarly, that being very poor, with an average of 14 and 10 frames per second, which yeah, I think after this I'm just going to stop using those 2 games, because for some reason they're just really bad regardless. So there you guys have it. Yes, technically you can play games on a Mac Mini. Should you? That's a completely different question. Now, interestingly enough, regardless of if the graphic settings were low or high or ultra, the frame rates were actually very similar for Black Ops 4. So as you'll see, I just kept them at high, and I'll show you this right now, because your difference between low and ultra are quite big considering. So what you guys are watching is essentially UHD, so that's 3840 by 2160 as the resolution at both low graphics settings and high graphics settings. And as you're seeing, the difference isn't as big as you'd probably expect it to be. So if you do want more graphical graphical rich detail, then yeah, technically you can still get a very similar FPS. So in terms of experience, I mean, your gameplay experience is going to be very similar across the board. So yes, if you want to play games on your Mac Mini, technically yes, you can. Should you? It just depends on the game you want to play at the end of the day. As you can see, playing Black Ops 4 on this machine was actually pretty decent. You know, I'm still getting better frame rates than I probably would on most consoles, especially. So given what you get out of it, it's pretty decent. So yeah, you can technically game on it. Question is, do you? So then guys, that has been it for today's video. If you did enjoy the video, then be sure to hit it with a thumbs up rating. Now if you are new around here, then why not subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I upload a next video. Now if you have got any questions or anything with regards to what you've seen in today's video, then be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. Alternatively, if you have got any questions or anything, then you can of course hit me up on my social media. Links of course can be found down below in the description. But once again, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.